All right, y'all. What's happening? This is Andrew from Mirror Music 99, and we're going to do some Joni Mitchell this morning. I mean, Coop's out there on Twitter talking to Hit Boy and whatnot, which is pretty cool, too. Um, all right, so Joni is, generally speaking, the greatest lyricist in the folk rock world history, in my opinion. You know what? And it's not something that I ever really listened to seriously as a younger person. And I kind of said we did one of our very first Mirror Music podcast episodes was comparing Joni Mitchell's A Case of You with Method Man and Mary J's I'll Be There For You. And those are tonally very similar. And I said kind of an offhand comment in that episode that Joni is one of the great lyricists that's ever been. I mean, doesn't really get her flowers the way she should. And we've dug into her music. We've done at least one other one. We did one with About Both Sides Now. So we've done at least 2 episodes about Joni, maybe 3, I can't remember. And have gradually come to understand that she is not one of the greatest folk rock lyricist that's ever been. She is probably the greatest folk rock lyricist that's ever been. And in our world, she's better than Robert Hunter. She's better than Dylan. She's better than Paul Simon and Neil Young and all of the people who are normally put kind of at the top of that list. So one of my projects over the next months is to do some more lyrical dives into some lyrics. And I thought a good way to start that was to start with the master, one of the masters, and one of her greatest albums, which is called Blue, which is about her relationship and her breakup with Graham Nash, most famously of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, but had a solo career of his own and so forth and so on as well. The lyrics here are incredible. They are also, I also think of Joni as kind of the queen mother of this folk rock confessional relationship movement, right? Like everything Taylor Swift has ever done comes from Joni Mitchell. Sorry, Taylor fans, but and that's not an insult. She's just pulling from that inspiration. But she's not the only one. I mean, you get Billie Eilish, you get Adele, you get Olivia Rodrigo. Even going further back, Sarah Bareilles, Tori Amos, Regina Spektor, Alanis Morissette. I mean, all of the people that are writing albums that use their relationships as primary motivation to write songs about and to write about them in a very detailed way, in a very imagistic kind of way, and a very kind of intense way. All of that comes back to Joni Mitchell. So nobody was really doing it like that before her, and nobody's, to my ears, nobody's done it as well as her after either. So I will make the argument eventually. I don't know if I'll do it in this episode or not, but I'll make the argument eventually that Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill, which is one of the great albums of the 1990s, was pulled almost directly from Blue as well. Even the first song on Jagged Little Pill is All I Really Want, and the first one on Blue is All I Want. So they're mining the same content. I think Joni's is more complex and Alanis's is more pure rage. But anyway, so the purpose of this stream really is for me to just read the lyrics to the poems, so to speak. I might offer a little commentary on it too, but generally speaking, I just want to put these words out into the world and say, Joni, we love you, and you're incredible, and we appreciate your art. So anyway, this is All I Want from Joni Mitchell's Blue, 1971. I am on a lonely road, and I am traveling, 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 looking for something. What can it be? Oh, I hate you some, I hate you some, I love you some. I love you when I forget about me. What a line. I want to be strong, I want to laugh along. I want to belong to the living. Look at that internal rhyme there. Alive, alive. I want to get up and jive. I want to wreck my stockings in some jukebox dive. Do you want to dance with me, baby? And do you want to take a chance on maybe finding some sweet romance with me, baby? Well, come on. I mean, some of that lyric is just feels a little silly pop, but you get lines like "I want to wreck my stockings in some jukebox dive." Like that's there are lines like that jump off the page even. It's just amazing. All I really want our love to do is to bring out the best in me and in you too. All I really want our love to do is to bring out the best in me and in you. Isn't that all what we all really want? I want to talk to you. I want to shampoo you. I want to renew you again and again. Listen to that internal rhyme again. Applause, applause, life is our cause. When I think of your kisses, my mind seesaws. Do you see, do you see, do you see how you hurt me, baby? So I hurt you too. Then we both get so blue. I am on a lonely road and I am traveling, looking for the key to set me free. Oh, the jealousy, the greed is the unraveling. It's the unraveling. And it undoes all the joy that could be. I want to have fun. I want to shine like the sun. I want to be the one that you want to see. I want to knit you a sweater. I want to write you a love letter. I want to make you feel better. I want to make you feel free. I want to make you feel free. Yeah, man, this album really, I mean, you'll see this as we go along, goes into like the feelings of a breakup, right? That are not all like, fuck you. They are complex, right? There's moments where you're like, God, I miss him so much. And moments where like, God, I made the right decision. And it's often very, there's all these feelings cascading on each other. Anyway, second poem song is called My Old Man. My old man in this context obviously is her beloved, not her father. My old man, he's a singer in the park. He's a walker in the rain. He's a dancer in the dark. You see how those K's hit? Park, walker, dark. Like it jumps around the lines. We don't need no piece of paper from the city hall keeping us tied and true. My old man keeping away my blues. She also plays with the idea of blue throughout the album. The album's called Blue, and the idea of the blues, like, because they're not blues style songs like you would think of traditional 12-bar blues style songs, but you see winks at the idea of the color blue or keeping away my blues or the music. She's playing with that idea too, which is one of the reasons this is such a great album. It's not one note. It's very complex, and it has threads that weave and themes that weave all the way through. He's my sunshine in the morning. He's my fireworks at the end of the day. He's the warmest chord I ever heard. Play that warm chord. Play and stay, baby. We don't need no piece of paper from the city hall keeping us tied and true. My old man keeping away my blues. But when he's gone, me and them lonesome blues collide. The bed's too big, the frying pan's too wide. What a phrase, man. Then he comes home and he takes me in his loving arms and tells me all his troubles and he tells me all my charms. There's ego involved too, right? We don't need no piece of paper from the city hall keeping us tied and true. No, my old man keeping away my blues. But when he's gone, me and them lonesome blues collide. The bed's too big, the frying pan's too wide. My old man, he's a singer in the park. He's a walker in the rain. He's a dancer in the dark. We don't need no piece of paper from the city hall keeping us tied and true. No, my old man keeping away my lonesome blues. It also has that poetry structure where it starts with the same thing that it ends with. It's almost like a mirror, right? The beginning and the end mirror each other as well. So, yeah, it's still pretty cool. I'm going to pull up this stream on my phone right quick just to make sure that I'm not missing any of your comments. If you're commenting or trying to hang out with us or whatever, or having some kind of interaction, I want to make sure that I get that. Um, let's see if this will show up. Come on, where are you? Sorry guys, I'm trying to make this show up on my phone, and it is not really wanting to do that. So if y'all are commenting, I'm sorry. I'm not seeing it right now. Let's see if I can pull it up on my computer right quick. If it feeds back some sounds real quick, then I'm sorry for that as well. Here we go. I'm going to pull this up and mute on my computer. Hartley Taylor, welcome. Good to see you. I'm going to try to keep this rolling on my screen as well, so I can keep up with what the comments are as we go. All right. I think I got my setup now. We can move along with this here. The next one is called Little Green. I want to pay attention as we go through this. Like, she's talking about universal experiences, right? She's talking about breakups and love and anger and frustration and sadness and the blues and all that kind of thing. But also, she's talking about it in a way that I don't think anybody else has before or since. So this is called Little Green. Born with the moon in Cancer, choose her name she will answer to. Call her green and the winters cannot fade her. Call her green for the children who've made her. Little Green, be a gypsy dancer. He went to California, hearing that everything's warmer there. So you write him a letter and say her eyes are blue. He sends you a poem and she's lost to you. Little Green, he's a nonconformer, just a little green. See, she's playing with the idea of what green means. I mean, green can mean jealousy, which is part of this album too. It can mean like springtime, which she plays with in the first verse. She calls him a little green, which is also meaning a little inexperienced as well. Just a little green like the color when the spring is born. There'll be crocuses to bring to school tomorrow. Just a little green like the nights when the northern lights perform. Remember, she's Canadian, right? There'll be icicles and birthday clothes, and sometimes there'll be sorrow. What a phrase. There'll be icicles and birthday clothes, and sometimes there'll be sorrow. Child with a child pretending, weary of lies you are sending home. So you sign all the papers in the family name. You're sad and you're sorry, but you're not ashamed. Little Green, have a happy ending. Just a little green, like the color when the spring is born. There'll be crocuses to bring to school tomorrow. Just a little green, like the nights when the northern lights perform. There'll be icicles and birthday clothes, and sometimes there'll be sorrow. I mean, I assume most people watching the stream would know, but the crocuses are the first flowers that come up in the springtime. Around here where I live, you see them sometimes even at the end of January, beginning of February. You don't see the flowers yet, but like the little sprouts start coming up. And that's one of those many signs for me that the wintertime is not over, but it's coming to an end. And it's just one of those moments of hope, right? It's interesting that this one starts with Born with the Moon in Cancer too, which is the middle of the summer. So it's a nice contrast to all this as well. Okay, the next one's called Carrie. This is one of her more famous ones as well. The wind is in from Africa. Last night I couldn't sleep. Oh, you know it sure is hard to leave here, Carrie, but it's really not my home. My fingernails are filthy. I got beach tar on my feet. I miss my clean white linen, my fancy French cologne. Oh, Carrie, get out your cane and I'll put on some silver. Oh, you're a mean old daddy, but I like you fine. Come on down to the Mermaid Cafe and I will buy you a bottle of wine and we'll laugh and toast to nothing and smash our empty glasses down. Let's have a round for these freaks and these soldiers, a round for these friends of mine. Let's have another round for the bright red devil who keeps me in this tourist town. Come on, Carrie, get out your cane. I'll put on some silver. Oh, you're a mean old daddy, but I like you. That's that complicated relationship, right? Like recognizing her flaws, recognizing his flaws, and still saying there's something that draws her in, right? Maybe I'll go to Amsterdam and maybe I'll go to Rome and rent me a grand piano and put some flowers round my room. But let's not talk about Fare Thee Wells now. The night is a starry dome and they're playing that scratchy rock and roll beneath the Metalla moon. Come on, Carrie, get out your cane. I'll put on some silver. We'll go to the Mermaid Cafe and have fun tonight. Like she's taking pieces from the other verses and kind of weaving them together. It's almost hypnotic, right? And she comes back to the beginning. The wind is in from Africa last night. I couldn't sleep. Oh, you know, it sure is hard to leave here, but it's really not my home. Maybe it's been too long a time since I was scrambling down in the street. Now they got me used to that clean white linen and that fancy French cologne. Oh, Carrie, get out your cane. I'll put on my finest silver. We'll go to the Mermaid Cafe and have fun tonight. I said, oh, you're a mean old daddy, but I like you. But you're out of sight. Yeah, that's, I don't know, there's not much to say about that. Sometimes we just have to let the poems stand for themselves, right? The next song is the title track from the album. It's called Blue. Blue songs are like tattoos. What a line, man. Blue songs are like tattoos. I guess they stay with you. Blue songs are like tattoos you know I've been to sea before. Crown and anchor me, or let me sail away. Hey Blue, here's a song for you. Ink on a pen underneath the skin, an empty space to fill in. Well, there's so many sinking now. You've got to keep thinking you can make it through these waves. Acid, booze, and ass. I love she's not rhyming, slant rhyming. Like she's acid and ass. Like those are rhyming and pulling the same sounds too. Acid, booze, and ass, needles, guns, and grass. Lots of laughs, lots of laughs. Those are bars, man. Everybody's saying that hell's the hippest way to go. Well, I don't think so. But I'm going to take a look around it, though. Blue, I love you. Blue, here's a shell for you. Inside you'll hear a sigh, a foggy lullaby. There's your song from me. It's almost like, you know, the Sarah Bareilles song, I'm going to write you a love song because you asked for it. Like it feels a little bit like that at the end. Here's a shell for you. Inside you'll hear a sigh, a foggy lullaby. There's your song for me. What a phrase, man. Foggy lullaby. Like, I mean, it implies like where they are, obviously, but also kind of murky and not clear, right? And a lullaby is something for the end, too, right? It's for the end of the day, is to help put you to sleep, so we can leave the room, right? So the genius of the songwriting is that there's so few words that carry so many ideas all at once. Yeah. Hartley Taylor says her songs evoke an urge to rescue her while simultaneously knowing she would reject being rescued. Yeah. And there is that, absolutely. But it's also the idea, or in addition to that, the idea that she is self-aware enough to know that, right? She knows that she doesn't want to be rescued. And she doesn't need to be rescued, really. So it's like a complicated set of emotions, right? And that's how breakups usually happen, right? There's very rarely purely one emotion. It's almost always a complex series of emotions. This next one's one of her most famous ones too. It's called California. And I've always thought it's hilarious that she starts a song titled California with the line "sitting in a park in Paris, France." It's hilarious. And Paris is one of those things that show up repeatedly in her music too, like a place that shows up repeatedly in her music. I've been listening to Court and Spark, which is another one of her albums, a lot lately, and there's songs about Paris in there too. Anyway, this is California. Sitting in a park in Paris, France, reading the news, and it sure looks bad. Remember, this is 1971. They won't give peace a chance. It would have been the height of their protest movements around the world, but particularly in the United States. This would have been not exactly quite the height of Vietnam, but certainly during Vietnam as well. They won't give peace a chance. She's also winking at John Lennon there. That was just a dream some of us had. Still a lot of lands to see, but I wouldn't want to stay here. It's too old and cold and settled in its ways here. Oh, but California, California, I'm coming home. I'm going to see the folks I dig. I'll even kiss a sunset pig. California, I'm coming home. This story is so amazing. I met a redneck on a Grecian isle who did the goat dance very well. He gave me back my smile, but he kept my camera to sell. Oh, the rogue, the red rogue. He cooked good omelets and stews, and I might have stayed on with him there, but my heart cried out for you, California. Oh, California, I'm coming home. Oh, make me feel good, rock and roll band. I'm your biggest fan. California, I'm coming home. Oh, it gets so lonely when you're walking and the streets are full of strangers. All the news of home you read just gives you the blues. There's the blues again. Just gives you the blues. So I bought me a ticket. I caught a plane to Spain, went to a party down a red dirt road. There were lots of pretty people there. You can read actually that story. She tells that actual story of the party that she went to there. There were lots of pretty people there, reading Rolling Stone, reading Vogue. They said, how long can you hang around? I said, a week, maybe 2, just until my skin turns brown. Then I'm going home to California. California, I'm coming home. Or will you take me as I am, strung out on another man? Wow. Strung out on another man. So she's coming back home to people that she knows. She's addressing California as a person, right? But she's also talking to the people that live there. Will you take me as I am, strung out on another man, California? I'm coming home. I mean, she talks about the men she met in Europe, too. So it's, that contrast is so beautiful. Oh, it gets so lonely when you're walking and the streets are full of strangers. All the news of home you read, more about the war and the bloody changes. Oh, will you take me as I am? Will you take me as I am? Will you? It's beautiful for many reasons. One of the interesting parts about this one, though, is that she is also playing with the idea of red and blue. The red shows up in this repeatedly, even though this is an album called Blue. She talks about bloody changes, which is red. She talks about a red dirt road. She talks about Spain, which is a red flag or whatever. She calls the guy she met on a Grecian isle a redneck, and she calls him a red rogue, too. So she's playing with contrasts here, too. And blue, obviously, tends to be associated with sadness and maybe even despair and depression. And red tends to be associated with sun and heat and maybe even anger, right? So she's playing with both of those kinds of emotions, and like I said, they're both happening kind of at the same time, right? Okay, the next one's called This Flight Tonight. Look out the left, the captain said, the lights down there, that's where we'll land. I saw a falling star burn up above the Las Vegas sands. It wasn't the one you gave to me that night down south between the trailers, not the early one that you can wish upon, not the northern one that guides the sailors. Oh, starlight, star bright, you've got the lovin' that I like, all right. I love when we have poems that kind of play with nursery rhymes or things like that everybody's familiar with and kind of twist them a little bit. That's so cool. Starlight, star bright, you've got the lovin' that I like, all right. Turn this crazy bird around. I shouldn't have got on this flight tonight. You got the touch so gentle and sweet, But you've got that look so critical. Now I can't talk to you, baby. I get so weak. Sometimes I think love is just mythical. Up there's a heaven, down there's a town. Blackness everywhere and little lights shine. Oh, blackness, blackness, dragging me down. Come on, light the candle in this poor heart of mine. Oh, starlight, star bright, you've got that lovin' that I like, all right. Turn this crazy bird around. I shouldn't have got on this flight tonight. I'm drinking sweet champagne, got the headphones up high. Can't numb you out, can't drum you out of my mind. They're playing goodbye, baby, baby, goodbye. Oh, love is blind. Up go the flaps, down go the wheels. I hope you got your heat turned on, baby. I hope they finally fixed your automobile. I hope it's better when we meet again, baby. Starlight, star bright, you got that lovin' that I like, all right. Turn this crazy bird around. I shouldn't have got on this flight tonight. Man, lots of poetry is about contrast, right? And we talked about that in the last one too, but poetry is about contrast. And she's up in the air suspended, right, between the heavens and the earth. She says, the heavens above and blackness is below. And is blackness, she's coming into land, right? So blackness is dragging her down. So, she's talking about it metaphorically, but also in a literal way, right? Her plane is literally coming into the blackness is coming down to land. So and I guess the heavens are light because of the stars and so forth and so on. So it's just, yeah. I guess the flight is reminding her almost how far she is from the light, right? I mean, that kind of goes with the California song in a way. Arthur Taylor says that he grew up in a beach town as well, and is very relatable. Beach tar on her feet is a very sexy line, and tells its own internal story. I met my 70s girlfriend over cleaning tar from her feet. Where is that beach, man? Like, the beaches that I'm familiar with around here aren't tar beaches, though I live in what's called the Tar Heel State for very similar reasons. But the beaches that we go to here don't really have tar on them. That the team tends to be a little more inland. Anyway, so where are y'all from? That's an interesting thing. Like, and I love poems, and I love songs, and I love poetry particularly that evokes those kind of memories, right? And I tell I teach creative writing as well. Images are what evoke those memories, right? Saying I loved her or I loved him or whatever, that could mean something different to everybody in here, right? Or everybody in the chat, everybody in my classes, whatever. It can mean something different, right? But it's those moments, white linens, French cologne, beach tar on my feet, right? Those things. And you see this one in this next one too. The rest of these songs, there's only 3. 2 of them are some of the most famous of the songs that she's ever made. River, which I've done a reaction to, a live version of, and A Case of You, which is a song that we did a whole entire Mirror Music episode about, I don't know, 2 years ago now, where we talked about Mary J. Blige's and Method Man's I'll Be There For You, and Joni's A Case of You. So I'll put those links down in the video description before too much longer. Here, I need to go change something right quick too before we get on to the next ones here. I'm sorry, I'll be back with you in a moment. I forgot to do this before we started. Okay, let's come back to there. So it's the tar. The tar on the feet was cruel on the Jersey Shore. This would have been in the 70s, I believe he said. So not tar naturally, but tar polluted anyway. this song is one of the probably most famous Christmas songs. That is a non-traditional one. It's called River, um, and it does an amazing job of capturing the feeling of being by yourself, um, partly because of something that you did, um, in a time where you always want people around you. Remember that a lot of these songs are set in warm areas, California, the Grecian Isles, etc. And that's probably where she would have written them to, I think. Don't hold me to that, but I think that's right. But we can never forget that she's Canadian. Like, she comes from a place where it freezes hard for a very, very long time in the winter, too. So, anyway, this is River. It's coming on Christmas. They're cutting down trees. They're putting up reindeer and singing songs of joy and peace. Oh, I wish I had a river I could skate away on. That contrast, man. Like I said in the reaction too, she sets up the scene, right? She sets up that scene, all the stuff that's going on around her, and then like her internal feelings about it too. I wish I could get away from all of this. But she's saying she's in California now, right? But it don't snow here. It stays pretty green. I'm going to make a lot of money. There's the green too, right? Make a lot of money that I'm going to quit this crazy scene. Oh, I wish I had a river I could skate away on. She actually does do that. Like, in real life, she does that. Make a lot of money, then quit this crazy scene. She didn't disappear for a long time, but like she definitely like moved away from that crazy scene and painted and had more of a, not an isolated life, but a private one, right? I wish I had a river so long I would teach my feet to fly. I wish I had a river I could skate away on. I made my baby cry. He tried so hard to help me, he put me at ease, and he loved me so naughty, made me weak in the knees. Oh, I wish I had a river I could skate away on. That verse gives you like some of this is my fault, right? I'm so hard to handle, I'm selfish, and I'm sad. Now I've gone and lost the best baby that I ever had, and I wish I had a river I could skate away on. Oh, I wish I had a river so long I would teach my feet to fly. I wish I had a river I could skate away on, and I made my baby say goodbye. Then she comes back to the beginning, right? It's coming on Christmas. They're cutting down trees. They're putting up reindeer and singing songs of joy and peace. I wish I had a river I could skate away on. Wish I had a, man. There's people, I think, miss a lot of the imagery that's going on here. And the contrasts that are going on. Is a Christmas song. It's about ice skating, whatever. But the river's frozen, right? The river's frozen. It's cold, which mirrors what she's claiming about her own heart and about her relationship, right? It's not in its natural state. And she's saying she's going to fly down the river, too. Flying is... you can fly on your skates, like skating very, very fast. People call that flying or moving really, really fast. But she's also coming right off of a song about coming off an airplane, right? So it's the way she's weaving, or she weaves all of these things together is just amazing. It's very, very, very hard. Yeah, exactly. It's not about ice skating at all. It's very, very hard to write a piece of work that is unified all the way through, right? That each individual piece will work as an individual song. You can take a river out as a single. You can take A Case of You or California out, and they can be singles, right? But also, it also works as kind of like a universe, like a complete piece of work altogether as well. So It doesn't sound that hard to do, but it, if you've ever tried to do it, it's incredibly, incredibly difficult to do. Um, this is probably, for me, this is the most famous of the songs on this record. It's called A Case of You. Just before our love got lost, you said, I am as constant as a northern star. The stars metaphor kind of goes throughout this album, too. I am as constant as a northern star. And I said, constantly in the darkness, where's that at? If you want me, I'll be in the bar. So, I mean, he is offering an olive branch right here, right? She would also imply that he's lying. He's not really as constant as a northern star. And she's kind of brushing him off at that point too. On the back, but this image right here, like, it's one of the most famous ones that she's ever written. On the back of a cartoon coaster and the blue TV screen light, I drew a map of Canada. Oh, Canada, with your face sketched on it twice. Oh, you're in my blood like holy wine. You taste so bitter and so sweet. Oh, I could drink a case of you, darling, and still I'd be on my feet. Oh, I would still be on my feet. There's another contrast right there. The blue TV screen light with the blood like holy wine, right? I mean, just a red and blue. The coldness of the relationship and the anger, the frustration, and the passion too, right? You have those contrasts going on right there. It's so fucking good. Oh, I'm a lonely painter. I live in a box of paints. I'm frightened by the devil. Also tends to be red, right? I'm frightened by the devil, and I'm drawn to those ones that ain't afraid. I love the song also because she's taking all the lines that he's fed her and kind of throwing them back in his face. I remember that time you told me, you said, love is touching souls. Surely you touched mine because part of you pours out of me in these lines from time to time. Oh, you're in my blood like holy wine. You taste so bitter and so sweet. Oh, I could drink a case of you, darling, and I would still be on my feet. I would still be on my feet. I met a woman. She had a mouth like yours. She knew your life and knew your devils and your deeds, and she said, go to him. Stay with him if you can, but be prepared to bleed. Oh, but you're in my blood. You're my holy wine. You're so bitter and so sweet. Oh, I could drink a case of you, darling, and still I'd be on my feet. I would still be on my feet. Scoop and I talked about that idea. I could drink a case of you and I'd still be on my feet. I mean, it could mean several different things, right? It could be like, I'm so high on you that it wouldn't affect me any more than it already is. It could be, you're so weak that I could drink a whole case of you and it wouldn't affect me at all. It could be like, I mean, it could be lots of different things, right? And this song captures that feeling of I hate you, I love you, I hate you, I love you, I love you, I hate you, better than any song that I've ever heard in my life. It's one of my favorite songs, like, ever in the history of the world. It is beautiful, it's artful, it's beautifully sung, the imagery is beautiful, it captures that feeling more perfectly than anybody's other song that I know of. All right, I'm gonna close this down now. The last song is called "The Last Time I Saw Richard." The last time I saw Richard was Detroit in '68, and he told me all romantics meet the same fate someday. Cynical and drunk and boring someone in some dark cafe, which is what's happening in literally the song right before, right? Cynical and drunk and boring someone in some dark cafe. You laugh, he said. You think you're immune. Go look at your eyes. They're full of moon. You like roses and kisses and pretty men to tell you all those pretty lies, pretty lies. She's talking to herself, right? When you're going to realize they're only pretty lies, just pretty lies. It is, yeah. I mean, mean, that's the same thing that she says at the beginning of Case of You, right? She says, um, he says, I'm as constant as a northern star, and she says, constantly in the darkness, where's that? If you want me, I'll be in the bar. Like, she's calling him on his BS there too, right? Um, so there's lots of different ways to read that. And yeah, Harler, this is still be on my feed makes me think that she feels immune to his poison. Yeah. I mean, there's so many things that line could mean, right? He put a quarter in the Wurlitzer, and he pushed. 3 buttons in the thing began to whir, and a barmaid came by in fishnet stockings and a bow tie, and she said, drink up now, it's getting on time to close. Richard, you haven't really changed, I said. It's just that now you're romanticizing some pain that's in your head. You've got tombs in your eyes, but the songs you punched are dreaming. Listen, they sing of love so sweet, when you're going to get yourself back on your feet. Oh, and love can be so sweet, love, so sweet. Like that part almost comes back to the very beginning where the lyrics are poppier, right? Like you could hear the Supremes doing that. They sing of love so sweet, you know, when you're going to get yourself back on your feet. That's some Motown, right? So, some of the cheese pop Motown, not the Marvin Gaye Motown, but it's that kind of lyric, right? So she's coming full circle, right? And the whole thing. Richard got married to a figure skater. This is how the album ends, the last verse. Richard got married to a figure skater, and he bought her a dishwasher and a coffee percolator. She rhymes skater and percolator, man. Nice. And he drinks at home now most nights with the TV on and all the house lights left up bright. I'm going to blow this damn candle out. I don't want nobody coming over to my table. I got nothing to talk to anybody about. All good dreamers pass this way someday, hiding behind bottles in dark cafes, only a dark cocoon before I get my gorgeous wings and fly away. Only a phase, these dark cafe days. Man. So, I have not done any real analysis on this album. Like, I have not written out notes or anything, but she's got lots of contrast weaving throughout, because you can think of this album as one unified poem as well, one unified piece of work. And like she's playing with high and low, like up in the air and down on the ground or in the water. The ideas of flying away appear many times. The ideas of contrasting light and dark. She's blowing out a candle in the song, right? She's talking about the stars in the sky and the darkness on the ground. She's also contrasting blue and red too. You see that in several of these songs as well. There's so much going on here. I don't have a ton else to say about this. I mean, I do have a ton more that I can say about it. Yeah, she is absolutely a courageous writer. She is one of the most courageous writers. And I think what you said earlier is also true, that that she feels immune to his poison, and that perhaps that the idea that the glitz and glamour of L.A. and that scene was too much for somebody that sensitive too. And I think she would say that too, and she kind of pulled back from that life. And I think because of that, in some ways, is not talked about in the same way as your Dylans and Simons and Neil Youngs and those kind of people. And she absolutely should be. She's one of the great writers, maybe even the great writer of this kind of music. And like I said at the beginning too, she is also she is the queen. Like, she is the center point that so much of the modern music of this style comes from. You get Taylor Swift and Alanis Morissette and Sarah Bareilles and Tori Amos, and you could argue the Indigo Girls and Brandi Carlile and Billie Eilish and Adele even. Like, all of those kind of songwriters that are pulling from their own personal experiences in a very imagistic way to kind of universalize their experiences. That all comes from Joni. That all comes from her, and lots of other male artists copied that later on after she did it too. She is wide open and emotionally speaking in her art, and that resonates. But it's not only being wide open, it is the ability to take her experience and write about it in a way that she can transfer that feeling from here to you, right? And there's not many songwriters that can do that this effectively. Maybe none of us, maybe we haven't sat in a bar and told our beloved to get the hell out, and then ended up sitting there drawing pictures of them on the back of a napkin or whatever. But I think we all kind of recognize the feeling anyway, right? The emotion that is complicated. It's never. Yeah, he says nobody wrote songs like this in 1970. Absolutely not. She is the one, and that's why I love her music so much. I'm fascinated by her lyricism, which is why we're doing this live stream today. But I love her voice too. It's one of those voices that just cuts through all the BS. Like you hear it cleanly. And in mere music, we think of her as the great songwriter in this space. Like she is the one. So I think I'm gonna wrap this up now. I've got to go pick up kids and do other daddy stuff. So thanks y'all for hanging out. I appreciate it. It's fun to talk about Joni. There's probably no way she'll ever see this, but if you do, Miss Mitchell, thank you for your music. We appreciate you. It's beautiful. All the flowers in the world belong to you. So take care of yourselves, y'all. I'll see y'all next time.